a leaker gets sued, the UK backs down, and Apple intelligences privacy. This is MacVoices. The MacVoices Dispatch is our weekly newsletter that keeps you up to date with all things MacVoices. The week's shows, other appearances, weekly highlights from MacVoices magazine, and more. Sign up today at macvoices.com/newsletter. Welcome to MacVoices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, this is MacVoices Live. We are live on YouTube at youtube.com/MacVoicesTV. If you're watching us after the fact, we are not live on YouTube at youtube.com/MacVoicesTV, but we will be again. So by all means, get over there on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern and join us in the chat room live so you can add your thoughts, commentary, abuse, or all of the above, just not necessarily in that order. Surprisingly, we have a lot of stuff to get through tonight. I kind of doubt we're going to get to hit all of it because some of it is probably going to dig us into deeper discussions. So we're going to get right to it and go around the room, see who's here, and then find out. David Ginsburg is in the top left of my screen, as usual. David, good to see you, but you're not you're where you usually are on my screen, but you're not where you usually are physically.
I am not. I'm taking a little bit of vacation. I'm out in actually Albany, New York, which is outside of Saratoga Springs. So I'm doing a little vacation time. We're going to check out the horse racing and the track. It's a beautiful place. But I wanted to make sure I caught here and join you guys for some great conversation.
Great. Well, I'm glad to have you. Appreciate the extra effort.
Yeah. And I got a good internet too.
Yeah, it looks good. It looks good. And we talked about this pre-show, but you're just using your MacBook camera and my MacBook microphone.
Yeah. Yep.
Nice. Looking like he's where he usually is. Brian Flanagan Arthurs is here. Brian, good to have you.
Thank you so much. Great to be here.
Webb Bixby is here with one of the amazing quilts that the Quilt Queen puts together for him. Webb, it seems like every week I want to say that's one of my favorites, but I feel like I'm saying it every week.
Well, I can say this one is definitely one of mine. And like I said in the pre-show, this was when I first decided I'd throw the quilts on here. This was the very first one that I did on this show. So, I just pulled out an oldie but a goodie. So
nicely done. I like it a lot.
Thank you.
Marty Gensius is here as he usually is, which is always a good thing. Marty, nice to have you.
It's good to be here. It has been a hell of a day, and I could tell you all about the hell of a day, but this is your show, not mine. So I'm glad to be on your show and not mine right now. That's the best part.
Okay, that's fair. Maybe we can compare notes after the show.
Sure.
just maybe you won't feel so bad if you know somebody else is also having those days.
I did.
Yeah. Yep. There we go. Yeah. We'll have a contest in After Dark. How's that?
Yeah.
Eric Bolden is also with us, but I have no idea where he is at this point because he is doing something a little different tonight. Eric, first of all, it's great to have you. Second, do you want to let folks know why you look just a little different tonight?
Well, I thought I needed to get closer to the flowers, so I went virtual, dove into the flower patch, and here I am in an Apple Vision Pro persona in amongst the flowers.
Yes, well, it looks like there's an insect close to your head, so watch out for him. I'm not sure what that is, but
move out of the way.
Doesn't look good.
Ooh. So I think let me see. There I am.
Now you look like a bug.
Yeah, with that deep band.
And poof, kind of bad.
Look at you. He's working out to be able to go back and forth there.
Yeah.
So, Eric, I gather you're just seeing us as you normally would. No, I mean, of course, inside the Vision Pro, but are we filling up all of your vision, or are we in a window?
Nope, you're in a window in a display in front of me. So I'm looking through the Apple Vision Pro to a display because how did I do this? I connected from the Apple Vision Pro to my Mac in Ecamm. And then I connected to Zoom, selecting the virtual video stream and my regular mic. So it's
Okay,
sort of
got it.
roundabout, but in theory, it will work with just about anything. So I can connect to Ecamm, I can connect to Zoom. I should, in theory, be able to connect to Teams, but I haven't had a chance to try that yet.
Don't.
I knew that was coming.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Couldn't help it. Couldn't help it.
Do,
right,
do,
well-
do you guys wear your Apple Vision Pros when you're at work or
Yeah.
you do?
Mm-hmm. Because at work I have one display and no space on my desk, and a window that lets light in at a weird angle where I can't read my display. Put the Vision Pro on, I get big display, no people bothering me mostly, and yeah, so it works pretty well.
So do you have visitors? See, I get visitors, and if I was wearing, that just no.
They might be like, "What the hell are you doing?"
Yeah.
It all depends on how badly they want to ask their question.
That's right.
But Webb, if you decide to do that, though, you got to get I forget what it's called, but that orange thing that, because
D-band.
that really makes it look extra strange. Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Eric. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Sorry for the intrusion. Thank you, Chuck.
No. It's an interesting point, and it's one that suddenly we're taking off on Vision Pro. But the idea that if you are using it in a work environment, there's not challenges, but just things that people are going to have to get used to. One more thing people have to get used to.
Eric said the magic word when he mentioned Teams, which is a platform that I have to use at work, and I did. Maybe I would like it wearing a Vision Pro while on a Teams call. Maybe I would like that a lot.
If you want to look like you have no depth and in Teams, all you have to do is show up in Teams.
Wow.
People accuse me of not having any depth anyway, so I don't need any help. So.
I can't. I wouldn't be able to connect my Vision Pro to work because your Vision Pro has to be associated to your account. So, and you don't normally assign your personal account in your work laptop.
Yeah. No. So it's kind of tough to figure out what the most interesting article is to start out with tonight. We try to start with Apple articles, but I think this one needs to be just discussed a little bit, maybe more than a little bit. That Apple is suing Jon Prosser over iOS 26 leaks. And I'm not going to go through all the details. You can read the article I just threw into the chat room, but Prosser has a history of being, his reputation is as a leaker. And this time it looks like maybe he went just a little too far if you buy into the allegations. So we have to say that all this is alleged, that he specifically tried to gain access to someone's iPhone running iOS 26 by, let's just say, nefarious means, and maybe with the possible exchange of some funds. So the fact that Apple even is going after him in this fashion, I can't believe that they would make the allegations. It just wouldn't make any sense to make these allegations and then have them proved wrong. So they have to feel like they have a pretty strong case. Mm-hmm. And I've seen some chatter about how, I guess, the media and a lot of people, even Apple employees, are reacting to this. And I kind of don't get it, because if it's confidential information, or if there are NDAs in place, it's confidential information and there are NDAs in place. So, why should violating that potentially be something that Apple should not crack down on? Brian?
Yeah, no, I agree. If there was, and the methodology at which he is alleged to have found that information out, I think it's reasonable for a lawsuit such as this.
Yeah.
I
Marty?
I think Apple's been with the past. There have been a situation in the last year that Apple has been cracking down on the leaks that are coming from the organization. They've done some administrative changes, and some of it might have been as a result of some of the leaks that have come out. And I think they're kind of cracking down on this because they want to control the media. They don't want Jon Prosser controlling the media. So this is not just a leak that he got. This is kind of stepping over the line in terms of
Right.
involvement and enticement by other people trying to get information for him, getting information through them, which makes it even harder to kind of patch that leak up. So I don't have any issues with Apple bringing this to litigation. I do think that we're going to see it. Apple's going to be harder and harder on dealing with leaks so they can control the media.
Okay. Webb, any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, hold on a second. It's just reading the complaint. The complaint one, misappropriation of trade secrets under the Defend Trade Secrets Act, blah 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 blah, in violation of the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. Yeah, they this is not a criminal trial. This is a copyright. I don't think it's criminal, is it?
No.
I think they're seeking damages, financial damages. Let's put it this way: these two gentlemen had better have a damn good lawyer, and they better pay them a lot, because somebody's going to get paid. I'll put it that way. So, and I don't know if, I'd probably fess up and say, yeah, I got it, and I did it, and I shouldn't have done it, and see where it goes from there. So.
Yeah, I heard one comment on one show that I was a little surprised at. They said, "Oh well, and this, if they're going after Prosser, they should definitely go after Mark Gurman."
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I get it. Whether Gurman is getting his information through official channels or not, or approved channels, maybe is a better way to say it. I don't know, because otherwise, yeah, it would make a lot of sense. On the other hand, whether people are just talking to Gurman versus what is alleged here that Prosser orchestrated this is, a question. David?
Doing a video
well-
doesn't help his cause.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
good point.
Well, that's the whole reason why it happened. But I mean, like the allegation says, he potentially offered compensation to this employee, and that, if anything, we don't know how much that compensation was to entice him to do this. I would not be all surprised that Apple's going after this employee too, besides terminating him. I just find it interesting to see where would this go. But what Prosser talked about was all stuff that he got spot on because he was able to actually look at a developer device, and that's where Apple has a problem with that. I mean, you sign an NDA as an employee with Apple, and you're not supposed to be doing that. And he obviously had this information because of this, and like I said, money motivates a lot of people here.
Yeah. Eric, I want Brian back in, but before he comes, want to get your thoughts on this.
Yeah, there's a huge amount of value in being able to surprise people with an announcement that's controlled. So when Apple brings out a new product or brings out a new OS, not having everybody having heard about it for several months makes a huge difference in the impact later when it actually does come out. So I'm sure that they're going to a lot of effort to try to slow this kind of thing down or eliminate it entirely. And this is closer to almost espionage versus calling up a bunch of factories and saying, how many widgets are you using and did you upgrade any? And maybe that means something.
I haven't heard the word espionage mentioned, Eric, but I see where you're going, and I agree with it. Brian?
Yeah, I just wanted to add that in addition to the notes there about showing off some of the features of iOS 26, maybe a little bit early, there's a couple lines in the article that relates to the Apple employee's phone having a significant amount of additional Apple trade secret information that has not yet been publicly disclosed. So it may go much deeper in as far as the information that was on that phone than initial stuff that's already been talked about in the new operating system.
Hopefully, Prosser's smart enough to not to do that and just aggravate the situation.
Yeah.
Barry in the chat room says the big difference is that Mark Gurman has Bloomberg lawyers. Prosser is independent.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Wrong is wrong.
When it's so
Yeah,
wrong.
I know Barry's being a little flip. I can understand how if you had Bloomberg backing you, maybe you'd push the edges a little bit. But this one just feels like it's so far over the edge that yeah, to Webb's point, he better have good lawyers just so he doesn't have to go bankrupt to pay it off.
Granted, if you read the complaint, they're written to be a little over dramatic, but defendant's misconduct was brazen and egregious after Mr. Prosser learned that Mr. Ramacati needed money, that his friend Ethan Lipnick worked at Apple on unreleased software designs. Defendants jointly planned to access Apple's confidential and trade secret information through Mr. Lipnick's Apple-owned development iPhone. Apple learned the details of the scheme in Mr. Ramacati's own words through an audio message to Mr. Lipnick, which Mr. Lipnick provided to Apple. Boom. They did it. They know they did it. They know that it was wrong to do it, and they did it anyway.
And as far as being overly dramatic, in other words, just like every other complaint you and I've ever read, Webb.
Including one today at about 3:00. Thank you.
I'm not going to ask. I'm just going to let it go. Anything else before we leave this? Okay. Let's do a fun story or a good story. And that is that Apple's F1, the movie, passed 400 million at the box office over the weekend. So this is now an unquestioned hit. It's an unquestioned success. And maybe it'll open the door for Apple to do some other things in the theaters and not some of the things that the way they've couched their theatrical releases in the past. Because this is a bit of an action film in its own way. And so I think that's what they need to put in the theaters. The social awareness stuff just doesn't seem to resonate with the big screens. That's the way I see it. Has anybody seen this movie?
Oh, I got to see it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I have not, and I'm a racing fan.
Right.
And the reason why is because I wanted to see it in IMAX, and the following right after this, the Jurassic Park movie came out, and it took the movie out of all the IMAX theaters around me. So
Really?
that's why I haven't seen it yet. Yeah.
Well, I'm the same way, but frankly, with Macstock prep and Macstock, and then the inevitable aftermath of being away from the office for a few days, I haven't gotten to see it yet. But I'm with you. I want to see it. If I can't see it in IMAX, at least on a big screen in a theater with a really fantastic sound system. So it's at the top of my things to do list.
I kind of thought about trying to do something on one of the evenings when we were in Macstock, but there wasn't a theater that was close by that I felt was adequate for us. So, and we were so compressed for time, as you well know. But
yeah, which is a good thing at Macstock.
Yeah.
So we have to talk to Mike next year and just say, Mike, why don't you make it just a week long? Then he will never speak to me again.
Yeah.
The UK has reportedly given up on its bid to break Apple's iCloud encryption. Is this a surprise to anyone? Is this, given the implications? Because as we've talked about previously on the show, if Apple had been forced to honor what the UK was demanding, then every other country in the world would have been making the same demands, and basically it would have hurt everyone's privacy. And so I have to wonder where the pressure came from. Did it come from internal? Did it come from the United States government? Did it come from other governments who'd rather not have every other government able to see what's going on in iCloud? And maybe I'm putting Apple's iCloud at the center of the universe, but it just feels like this was a really dangerous precedent to set, no matter whose service they were talking about. Dave?
Yeah, it's definitely something different there. I don't see how it's how the UK really wants to deal with it anymore. I think it's just something that is just they can't get into, especially with Apple's political connections, like you say, and the fact that it's just that there's no open control to be able to try to crack it because like the US isn't going to do it, so why can they do it? That's really what I think.
Yeah, Brian?
Yeah, I just wanted to add on to that. Just, it's a great win for everybody because, if it would have been, if legislation may have gone the other way, where more governments would have came on the other way and saying, Apple, you need to do this, from hearing from more just the UK government. But for those who live in the UK, this is fantastic. A good win for privacy.
We're back to the same old thing that, if you create a backdoor for one, you're creating a backdoor that everyone can potentially come through. So, Marty?
Yeah, I just think it's you asked what pressure came about. Probably some political, but I wouldn't put all my eggs in that basket. Probably some consumer. I think somebody, they just overstepped their reach when they asked for this, and then it turned into a whole series of bad optics for for the UK wanting to do this with whereas the damage that it could cause not only to US but other countries, and then other countries wanting to do it too. I just think it turned out to be bad optics.
Webb?
Well, and I posted this story in the on the private Slack earlier today. It was definitely an overreach because remember, they not only said that they wanted to be able to look at any British citizen, they wanted to look at anybody anywhere in the world that was on iCloud, and they wanted to have access to it. And like I said, that's a huge overreach. Could they have had some political supporters, political pressure? Well, undoubtedly. But I want to go on record that when we first talked about this issue on this show, 2 months ago, I said it's never going to happen. There was no way that they were going to get any support for this. So I was right.
Marty just put in our chat room, Ming Chi Web.
Chi Web.
So, Eric, was this any kind of a surprise to you?
Not really. No. It kind of was surprising that it took so long for them to get to this point. And I don't know if whoever originally came up with this had no clue what they were doing. It just seemed like a good idea at whatever meeting they were in. But I don't know if Apple saying that they weren't going to allow advanced data protection for phones in the UK had, like a tiny hint of influence. But yeah, this is a bad look from the start all the way through. Webb's right.
Webb already told us he was right. So
I just thought, I'd agree. Yeah.
You're just reinforcing it. But I think your comments about all of you, your comments about the overreach and the look is really interesting because it also reinforces the opinion that many of us hold about many politicians, that they're meddling in things that they don't fully understand or they don't want to understand. And they end up looking like spoiled little brats who just want it their way, even though it can't be their way. Just give us the keys and it's fine. You know, we'll take good care of them. How many times have we talked on this show, and you hear on others, that keys, passwords, security measures have been lost or overlooked or worked around by the very people who are supposed to be guarding these things like their life depends on it. So it's too bad we even have to talk about some of it. And I'm sure that won't be the last time the issue comes up. Marty, I'm going to turn to you on this one. This is here's how Apple Intelligence keeps privacy in mind versus the competition. I feel like you could have written at least part of this article with some of your comments in the past about our evaluation of Apple Intelligence and how the privacy aspect of it is affecting how quickly it can advance.
This article doesn't go far enough for me because it kind of stops at the on-device stuff. And it doesn't go on to the environment that Apple's created in terms of asking permission to go off device and search for information that you might be interested in. So it doesn't complete the whole system for me, which also explains why I think Apple's not trying to buy Perplexity or buy ChatGPT. They're trying to license them essentially and put them in as part of their product. So it's good. I've always felt that people who are comparing Apple Intelligence with other types of LLMs have got it all wrong because they're not taking into consideration the privacy functions that Apple has in place, which is why it's taking a little longer to do. So stop trying to compare them to devices and services that sell your data. And the other thing that I wish Apple would do with this is really make that, when anybody says, what's going on with Apple Intelligence? We're still working on it, but we're not selling your data like the other guys. That should be the lead. Don't bury the lead on this. And I mentioned on a previous show that Apple is doing some things with like web browsing privacy. You see some of those ads out now that I think are important. But they need to get on board and support and strengthen the idea that they're doing it differently from a privacy standpoint with Apple Intelligence and AI, and that other services are using you as a commodity.
I don't want to take us too far off topic here, but something you said there, and I just lost it. It was a really great point. I know that. Don't buy Perplexity. Don't buy another LLM. I agree with you. I think it depends on how you look at it. I think it is a good thing for them not to do it, but I'm a little surprised that they haven't been maybe taking it a little more seriously, at least based on the reports and leaks and all that we hear, because Apple likes to control the whole widget, whatever it is. And so if they bought, say, Perplexity, then they could have complete control over what Perplexity is doing, or what would then be Apple Perplexity, and how it was working. And so the idea that they are inviting partnerships with some of the other LLMs is definitely to their advantage, as you said. It just seems just a little un-Apple-like.
Yeah, I think Apple's going to focus on the privacy stuff, and anything that's not going to permit privacy, they're going to say, if you want it, here's the switch that you take to go out and get it. It's on you now. And it's which one do you buy? They all have, like Midjourney does images really well. Perplexity answers problems in a way that's different than ChatGPT. ChatGPT is much more of an interactive type. So which one do you buy? Do you buy the whole cheese shop, or, do you only buy one or two kinds of cheese? I think it's better that you have that there, and you're allowing people to pick what they want in terms of additional services. That's my prediction. I'm not as good as Ming-Chi Webb or Ming-Chi Kuo in making those predictions, but I don't see Apple buying Gemini or buying Perplexity or when would that have to stop to capture the market?
Eric, any thoughts on this?
No, I think that Apple staying where it is a good idea. I think right now the environmental costs are kept away from Apple and at other companies, and they've got time to work and try things and can change who they work with to get results without really heavily impacting themselves. So yeah, I figure just keep playing the field. Take the best out of everybody else, cut whatever deals you possibly can, and stay out of it. Although I still really like the on-device AI. So I'm hoping they continue to develop that and not just on device on the phone, but on device on a computer. I see a place maybe at a business on device AI model or a home AI model.
David, do you think that, again, to echo what Eric said, do you think playing the field is the best idea for Apple at this point? As both from an actual perspective and a public perception perspective?
You should always play the field. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket, honestly. I mean, that's what they've done so far, working with OpenAI and ChatGPT. But yeah, I've been playing on you said that don't just go. I'll subscribe to the other ones. I mean, when I started discovering Perplexity, they had a $10 trial discount that I tried for a month, and I compared the two, and I mean, I compare them all, honestly. I've done Gemini, I've done ChatGPT. I don't obviously work with ChatGPT and as well as Copilot. Perplexity seems very interesting. It seems like it's got some other potential features, but I don't know if Apple wants to dive into owning an AI firm like this when they've been already fumbling a bit, trying to get Apple Intelligence in place as it is.
Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you Mac Voices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.